Hi, Joe here again, wishing you a happy Star Wars Day, or May the 4th be with you. And today I want to show off some of the rugs I have made in the theme of Star Wars. When my kids first got interested in Star Wars about 11 years ago, I had started looking for kits to make Star Wars rugs, but didn't really find much of anything. So that's when I discovered the site leftsource.com, where you can upload a picture and it will design a latch hook pattern for you. And that's a video for another day, but I found some pictures of my favorite scenes in Star Wars and turned them into rugs. Starting here with this Battle of Hoth scene with the Imperial Walkers and the Snowspeeder. This was my first attempt at doing a custom rug. It had about 30 colors, and using the left source options, I had the colors mixed between Hirschner's and MCG. MCG is a company that used to sell kits and pre-cut yarn, but they're out of business now. But one of the nice options of left source is that you can choose whatever brand of yarn you want from various combinations, and Hirschner's and MCG seem to always produce the best patterns. And while the pattern looked pretty good on the screen, I was never entirely happy with this particular rug. I feel like there are parts that are just too dark, and I've always wanted to give this one another shot, but every time I try to remake the pattern, it really just comes out the same. But still, I was happy enough with the result that I went crazy and started uploading more pictures and creating more patterns, like this Darth Vader here, which, to save money, because he's only a few colors, I went with Red Heart yarn that I cut myself. And one of the problems I found is that when you have a character that's black and a background that's black, Left Source doesn't really like to choose black as your color for anything, and it likes to choose really dark brown or coffee as one of the colors. So what you may not be able to see is the background of this picture is actually brown. And there really isn't much detail, but when you hang this up on the wall and you get a first glance at it, you can instantly recognize it as Darth Vader. This next one here was probably more ambitious than I should have tried. It's an Imperial Star Destroyer, which this is a case of doing a picture of something that is nothing but gray on a black background, and there are just a finite number of shades of gray. This was another one I made with Red Heart yarn, and you can definitely see the shape of the Star Destroyer when you first look at it, but if you look at it for more than a few seconds, it just looks like a mess. This next one, however, I feel came out a lot better. This is a battle droid from the Star Wars prequel movies. When my kids first got interested in Star Wars, their favorite characters were the droids, like R2-D2, and the battle droids for some reason. So I made this to hang up in their room, and I'm pretty happy with how this one came out. It's also nice to get away from all the black and gray colors. This next project here was just a way to use a long, narrow piece of canvas that I had left over, and it's supposed to be Darth Vader's lightsaber. In addition to the battle droids, one of my kids was very much into Darth Vader, so this went up on the bedroom wall. My other daughter, however, was not as interested in Star Wars beyond the droids until she found out that there were girls that had lightsabers. So I made this rug of Ahsoka Tano, who is a character introduced in the Clone Wars and has appeared in various other Star Wars series. And not only was she a Jedi, but she used 2 lightsabers in her fighting style. And I made this rug, and I'm really happy with how it came out. And as an experiment, just to try and add the cool factor a little bit, I replaced the white yarn that forms the middle of the lightsaber blade with white yarn that I mixed with glow-in-the-dark paint to try and make it glow in the dark. And it was only moderately successful. It was nearly impossible to take a picture of, and it still didn't really look that good in real life. Eventually, we saw all the sequel trilogy movies, and there wasn't a whole lot of artwork available for them that I thought would be distinctive to make a good rug, but I thought I would try this final shot from the last of the sequel trilogy, which is Rey and BB-8 staring at the binary sunset on Tatooine, and they're only in silhouette, but I thought it might make a nice rug, and it's okay. It ended up being way too many colors for not really showing very much. But this was also my first attempt to use dithering, which is a feature on Left Source where instead of just trying to come up with an exact color for each pixel, Left Source tries to come up with combinations of colors that will better match what your original picture is. Fun fact, the sun that is on the left in this rug is mostly made out of light blue. Next, following up on my kids' love of droids and my desire to make a better sequel trilogy rug, I have this rug here, which is the 3 main droids from The Force Awakens, which is C-3PO, R2-D2, and BB-8. And this was not only using dithering, but I also used 5 hole per inch canvas. All of the other rugs I've shown so far are on normal 3.75 holes per inch canvas. But with the smaller holes in the canvas, I can get a much more detailed design into a smaller rug. And I really like how this one came out. I just wish C-3PO's face would be a little bit clearer, but I think BB-8 and R2-D2 look really good. And this is probably, I'll just say, my second favorite of my Star Wars rugs. And I'll close out here with my favorite Star Wars rug, which is the Millennium Falcon, which is part of that initial batch that I made after doing the Battle of Hoth. And I think this one turned out the best looking. This one was made with a mixture of Hirschner's and MCG yarn. And I just found the picture online. I don't know what the planet is it's supposed to be flying over, but I think that having a planet there instead of just black space helps the overall image look better. And this is also one where if you look too close, you kind of lose the detail, but when you hang this up on the wall and get that first glance at it, it's immediately recognizable as the Millennium Falcon. Now, I know I've seen other people do Star Wars rugs, and they've done some really amazing artwork there. And I don't know if I'll ever do any more. It just depends on whether there's any more images that I feel can be easily converted. But until then, I hope everyone has a wonderful Star Wars day, and may the Force be with you.